The following program contains scenes and language of a frank and explicit nature. Viewer discretion is advised.
This is The Loud List, where our random, rowdy, and raunchy band of misfits create top 10 lists of life's most insane shit. Be scared. Nothing is off limits. So congratulations.
You just made the list!
I'm the music god CJ Plain, and once again, this is another episode of The Loud List. What number is this? I don't know. Look at the title. It'll tell you. I have lost track where I'm at this point because normally when I do these podcasts, they get really sporadic. But this time around, we have put an episode out every single week on Friday, and we have not missed a week, and we're going to keep that going. So with that said, over to my right, undoubtedly, is the gentleman that I spend Tuesday nights with now, doing the maniacal, I'll let him tell you, because I'll fuck it up. Mr. Jeremy Bryant, the man, the myth, the legend. How are you tonight, sir?
Well, we're talking conspiracy, so I'm in my heyday right now. I got my tinfoil hat on. I'm ready to have some freaking fun here.
So this is a topic that is much more in his wheelhouse than mine. I'm kind of going outside of my box, but I did manage to sneak in a few musical references into mine. So we'll see how it goes. We are doing the top 10 conspiracy theories. I'm not going to say the greatest or the favorite. We're just doing, I did mine as 10 wacky conspiracy theories that I think are funny, goofy, or just outright kind of ridiculous. And we're going to get into them. We're going to talk about it a little bit. And I'm sure Jeremy will spend more time explaining my conspiracy theories than I will.
We'll see.
I'm okay with it. So first question, did you have any honorable mentions?
Kind of, yes. I threw Dogmen, Bigfoot, and reptilians in honorable mentions because they're not 100% conspiracy theories in my head. They're more cryptids. So they kind of cross the middle ground. I sourced all my top 10 from my conspiracy theories bracket on my show. So, because those are the ones I know well and can talk about, and those are the ones that I believe the most, but at least these 10. So I just had to throw those three out there because they are conspiracy theories to some people. And yeah. I mean, they exist. They all exist to me. If you don't believe in Bigfoot in this day and age, then I don't. Then you're fucking blind. You're fucking blind and you're deaf and you don't want to be seeing or hearing anything because there is so much proof of it nowadays. How can anybody not believe it?
So you have to believe in Bigfoot. He's clearly on TikTok.
Don't get me started on those fucking things. Don't get me started. But yeah, there are.
Tongue in cheek. I think some of them are funny. Some of them are dumb. Some of them are funny.
Yeah, a chuckle maybe, but yeah, it's. I mean, if you don't believe in Bigfoot these days, go find a group on Facebook that talks about it and just watch all the proof file in. And yes, some of it's gonna be fakes and some of it's gonna be made up shit, but there's a percentage in there that's real, at least to my eyes. So, and same thing goes for Dogman. Dogman exists. It's basically another type of Bigfoot. Well, another cryptid in the same class as Bigfoot. It's becoming the new Bigfoot popularity-wise in the cryptid world. So, Dogmen exists. It's where the werewolf legend came from many, 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 many years ago. So go look it up if you don't believe me. They exist. There's a whole organization that tracks the sightings and everything. So,
but I'm letting you run with this one because, like I said, this is much more your area of expertise, and I just I did a whole bunch of reading and a whole bunch of different things, and I just kind of picked 10 that were
interesting. Yeah.
Interesting to me or seemed like something, that there might be something to them. So number 10, what do you got at number 10? Because we'll start with you. And
my number 10 is actually going to be the one that we'll find the funniest probably. I never knew it was a thing until my co-host on Global Strangeness / Paranormal Prime Time started chanting it and then at the end of every show and whenever he got a chance. But my number 10 is the conspiracy theory that birds aren't real, which as ridiculous as this notion may seem, I've actually seen a lot of posts about it on social media over the last year or so. And there are some that had me thinking, like, what if, I mean, I'm not saying that all birds aren't real, because I don't believe that for a second, but what if there are decoy birds out there that are actually surveillance by the government? It would not be the craziest thing to happen in this world. So
No, I don't believe blah, blah, blah. I don't believe that all birds aren't real, but as you just stated, I also don't trust the government to the point of that it is beyond imagination that they could use something like that for covert purposes. So,
I mean, and 20 years ago, they could have easily created these drone-like machines that look exactly like birds to 100%
absolutely,
match. I mean,
absolutely.
they probably could mass produce them nowadays. So it's who knows? I mean, you go to any major city and the amount of pigeons you see, who's to say they're all exactly real birds?
Well, exactly. So number 10 on my list, this is the first one that popped up. And I thought, I've been to this place, and as far-fetched and as dumb as it seems, there is something about this place that doesn't seem on the up and up.
I'm curious now if you have one of my something that's on my list right now. I'm really curious.
So number 10 on mine is the Denver International Airport is the Illuminati headquarters.
Ah, uh, oh,
And as someone who has traveled to Denver International Airport, there is something about that airport that is it is unlike any other airport. And it is got like there's a weird vibe to that fucking place.
I'm not gonna say much now because it's a lot higher up my list,
Right.
and there's a lot more to it than just that little tidbit of it that you said. There's a lot more to it.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I've been, as somebody who has traveled through Brazil, Thailand, Japan, England, Germany, the Philippines. I've been, through the Atlanta airport, Detroit airport, Chicago airport, both of the New York airports, LaGuardia and John F. JFK, LA, Denver, Fort Worth. There is just something about the Denver airport. It's just a different kind of vibe and feel, and I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, yeah, there's all this shit that people say. Again, the thing with conspiracy theories is, to me, is this. As far-fetched as some of them are, or as unrealistic as some of them may seem, there's a whole level of unbelievably insane shit that the government does that people don't know or have never heard of. And
yep, it's not my list, but to prove your point, MK Ultra was a conspiracy theory for a long time until it was proven real.
So, when you say this shit is it's not possible. When you have the power, time, and the money that world governments have, the impossible becomes very possible. So I would never sit here and say none of this is true. I'm sure probably at least 3 things on my list are completely within the realm of complete possibility and reality.
Conspiracy theories are like stereotypes. There's always a basis of truth at some level to them.
Yes. So that's my number 10. Denver International Airport is Illuminati headquarters. Number 9.
All right. I'm actually changing my number 9 at this second because I just thought of one that I didn't include, and I'm like, fuck, I need to add it in somewhere, and this is the perfect spot. I originally wrote down Mount Rushmore Hidden Chamber, but that kind of bores me to some degree. So I'm changing my number 9 to be giant humans. The fact that they existed, may still exist, and that the governments are all hiding it. And there is so much proof of this in the freaking world that people don't believe it or other minds. It dates back to the Bible and ancient civilizations. They found bones in the Grand Canyon, in many, many caves and many hills across the United States. These mounds, these huge mounds all across the Midwestern United States. They found giant skeletons, and guess what? Oh, the Smithsonian's gonna come take them. Really? Then why does the Smithsonian know nothing about them when they're asked by reporters? Because the government confiscates them all and hides the evidence because it disproves some religion, it disproves some government beliefs, it disproves a lot of things in the world that we're taught to believe. So, I mean, if you look at Native American culture, they have a lot of stories of giant tribes. Giants with red hair is a thing in the Cherokee Nation. Mm-hmm. And they, same as Bigfoot, they all can be tracked back to Native Americans and natives from other cultures. I mean, look at the Kandahar giant that the U.S. military fought in the 2000s and killed. If you ask a lot of people in the military that served, they'll tell you they fought it, they shot at it, they watched their brothers get killed by it. But you ask the government, oh no, that never happened.
Mhm.
Even though it was in some newspapers, it never happened. So I mean, it's another race because they don't want there to be another race of human beings. They don't want there to be another race of humanoid that were as intelligent as we are, because it would diminish everything they try to make us believe. So my number 9 is 100% giant humans living at some point and still living supposedly. Solomon Island has been the name I've heard the most recently about where giants still live. So
Going back to your original one and the Mount Rushmore vaults, come on, man. You know that's the Richie Rich family vault.
I see that's part of the reason that it bores me is because it's been influenced by pop culture too much now since that movie came out. But which I love that movie. Don't get me wrong. That was a
Right.
childhood favorite. But it's I mean, is there a secret chamber behind Mount Rushmore? Yeah, probably. Why wouldn't there be? What's in there? Oh, who could gather to guess? I mean, it could be nuclear weapons these days. It could be secret documents only the government doesn't want anybody to find. It could be a lot of things that are back there. So it could be Hitler's frozen brain for all we know. So
Yeah. I mean, it's one of the ones that it's completely within the realm of reality. Like, the government could easily have secret research there. They could have a seed vault. They could have any number of things there, So, yeah. Number 9 for me, going to Hollywood.
oh boy,
We're living in the Matrix. And again, as far-fetched as it seems,
you're taking my fucking list, dude.
I mean, I knew we were going to have a bunch that match.
Yeah.
As far-fetched as it seems, man, there are days that just seem like, you see shit, whether it's the Mandela effect or whether it's whatever, it just seems like there are days that it really seems like we're living in a goddamn video game. Like we're just living in a fucking simulation. And I don't know, man. Like it's just
I will get into it a lot more when I get to it on my list. I'll get into it a lot more.
I figured you would. And that's why I said specifically, I'm sure you will spend much more time talking about these than I will. So that is my number 9, is we're all living in the Matrix. Number 8.
Okay. This one, honestly, I almost put it as an honorable mention, but I had to put it on the top 10 because I highly believe in this, and that is the idea of sea monsters / living dinosaurs, because they are one and the same thing. Whether we're talking about Loch Ness or Ogopogo or a lot of other water-bearing creatures that are as big as ancient creatures that we hear about legends about or we find bones of, but we have no definitive proof they exist at this point. But there's been enough pictures and videos taking of things we can't explain in lakes, locks, and other things. And I tie that into the idea of living dinosaurs because, well, I mean, the most famous example of living dinosaurs is Makole Mbembe. In the Congo, it's supposedly a brontosaurus-like dinosaur that has been in the Congo River Basin for hundreds of years. The first time it was heard in white man's culture, we were down there controlling everything because that's what white men do, because we're horrible people. But we were controlling everything, and the natives in the Congo kept talking about some kind of creature that they and we didn't understand what they were talking about. So they actually brought out like a picture book of different animals, and they flipped through. They were like, "Is it a hippo? Is it a elephant? Blah blah blah." And they kept shaking their heads, and eventually they got to a page about dinosaurs, and they pointed at a picture of a brontosaurus, and they were like basically shaking their heads. Yes, that's what it is. It supposedly has Macaulay Mbembe is not a dangerous creature unless its territory is threatened, according to legend. So you don't have to worry about attacking you technically, but just don't go near its ripper. And it survived hundreds of years, so obviously there's more than one. Obviously, it's spawning, so it has to be more than one, and they have to be mating. There are other examples of that of living dinosaurs as well. I always forget the exact. I want to say Peru. It could be Argentina, but I want to say Peru. There's a tribe of natives that worships velociraptor-like creatures that live in the woods. that live in the jungle around them. And I've actually talked to people who have been down there for spiritual retreats and whatnot, and I've asked them, like, did you talk to the natives? Like, did any of them mention anything about this? And a couple of them actually said, like, yes, they mentioned these type of creatures living in the woods around them. And one even said, like, I brought up a picture of a velociraptor from my phone from Jurassic Park, and they just basically got immediately terrified and just like shook their head, yes, that's what it is. So, and of course, we can't forget thunderbirds in America, in the southwestern America, which are basically pterodactyls or pteranodons. So, and there are stories, literally in the 70s, of a child in Texas getting picked up off its front yard by a pterodactyl-like creature, and the only reason that child's alive and a grown man today, probably if he didn't die, is because everybody in Texas has guns and started shooting at the damn thing. It put down the child and flew away. But it was actually on an episode of Monsters and Mysteries in America, that story as well. But so for anybody who would think that there's not things in the oceans that we do not yet know about, because remember, the giant and colossal squids were cryptids until we discovered that they were real. And we find new shark species and fish species every freaking year. So if you think we know everything that's in the water, you're out of your damn mind. And if you think there aren't still jungles out there that could hide living dinosaurs, you're out of your damn mind. And I will say, this number 8 ties into my number 1, but we'll get to that when I get to my number 1.
Yeah, so going back to the white man thing, I made a joke when Land O'Lakes thing happened, when they changed their packaging. Yep. I made a joke, and people didn't find it as funny as I did.
Of course.
But I made the joke that it's just like a white man, they removed the Indian but kept the land, because basically Land O'Lakes took the Indian maiden off their picture but kept the background exactly the same. So, I was like, just like a white guy, remove the Indian but keep the land. And people were like, that's not funny.
I think it's
fucking like,
that's hilarious. I mean, yeah, between that and Aunt Jemima, but yeah.
Yeah. So I agree with you 100%. The sea thing especially. I have an uncle who works for National Geographic. He is one of the world's best underwater recovery people when it comes to shipwrecks and all of that. He's also one of the world's best free divers. This man is almost 80 years old and can free dive about 100 feet deep, which is just completely fucking insane to think that at 80 years old, you can still fucking, swim to 100 feet. But he is constantly telling me, you should come scuba diving with me. He owns a resort in the Grand Caymans, and you should come scuba diving with me. No. Why not? There is shit in the ocean that will eat me. Oh, there's nothing gonna bother you down there. You're exactly right. And you know why I know that? Because my fat ass is going to be sitting on the beach with a margarita in my fucking hand where I belong. So unless that shark or whatever it is grows legs and chases me across the beach Scooby-Doo style, there is zero chance of anything eating my you-know-what.
I have been of the same mindset for a long time. I refuse to swim in any natural body of water that I cannot see the bottom of.
Yeah, that's my thing. I have a terrible fear of deep water.
Yep.
Now, I don't mind going in water. I like to frolic, near the beach. Even I'll go, chest high, whatever. And I have in multiple places around the world. But I don't like going much above my waist or, my chest. If I can't touch the bottom, it's a no-go for me.
Yeah, I mean, I've had enough shit swing around my legs as a kid in Florida that I don't want to think about. I'm guessing it was barracuda. That's what it felt. It felt like the size of a barracuda. But
when I go on a boat, it better be a big fucking boat. Okay, it better be a cruise ship or a fucking yacht or something. Don't get no dumbass ideas about you're gonna take me out into the middle of Lake Superior in a fucking kayak or a canoe or any fucking 12-foot fishing boat. Yeah, that's gonna be a no for me. That motherfucker ain't got at least 3 fucking engines. Yeah,
I agree. I mean, my wife always wanted me to go kayaking and or canoeing in the middle of the Huckamuck Swamp in the Bridgewater Triangle, where she grew up. And I'm like, one, this is the Bridgewater Triangle. Like two, Huckamuck Swamp is a famous place for being haunted. People getting lost forever. I'm so fucking good. I'm like, I'm not going out there unless it's on a damn military boat and I got every weapon known to man on me there. No
Yeah.
way, no.
I have been invited multiple times. Yo, come down here to the bayou. We go alligator fishing.
That sounds like a bad idea.
No.
Sounds like a bad idea. I mean, I would
go anywhere that is thousands of miles of unexplored swampland that is infested with shit that will bite, eat, and attack you.
exactly. Unless fucking what the hell's his name? My God. Unless swamp creature is there to swamp thing is there to freaking protect me. I am not going in a damn swamp.
You know what I'm saying? Like look, the swamp outside my grandpa's house, that's about the only fucking swamp you're ever gonna see. I know where all four sides of that are. I know exactly how big that some bitch is and how to get out of it real quick. You know, other than that, yeah, I ain't fucking with the bayou, the Everglades.
I mean, I'll go to the bayou and Everglades, but I'm gonna sit in a restaurant and eat the stuff that other people catch. I'm not gonna go try to get
that's
myself.
what I'm saying. You know. So number 8 for me. This one's neither here nor there. Tupac is alive.
I was avoiding ones like that for reasons, but
yeah, that was one I was just kind of, I had to throw it in there because, you know, there's a part of me that I'm pretty damn sure Tupac is dead. But every once in a while, you know, shit'll pop up, man. You'll hear like a new song or something, and you'll see a picture, you know, and you're like, damn, that's got just so many fucking characteristics. But
have you heard the version of that rumor where Tupac's alive and he became Tracy Morgan?
No, I think Tupac is alive, living in Jamaica somewhere.
Yep, he's alive in Jamaica with Elvis, and he's smoking weed with him.
He's not with Elvis. That one's coming up.
Oh, interesting.
Coming up.
Man in Black 2, please.
Number 7. What do you got at number 7?
Oh shit. Okay, speaking of what I just said, not even playing this, I didn't look at my list even. My number 7 is Men in Black. Yeah, my number 7 is Men in Black.
Men in Black.
And not the Big Willie one even, but that comic book, those movies are based on real fact.
Yeah.
Because there are extraterrestrials have been working with our governments since at least the Renaissance in cooperation, if not earlier even. But the Vatican probably since the beginning of time, since the Vatican existed. But extraterrestrials have been working with the government for a long time. X-Files had it right, started Men in Black, started a lot of other pop culture, because pop culture is people trying to tell us things. That's what pop culture really is. So I had to put the Men in Black on here, because they're no longer the Men in Black as of the late 2000s, mid 2000s. They're now the khaki men. They don't dress in black suits anymore because who the fuck does that in this day and age? So they are now the khaki men. They dress like soccer dads. They dress like soccer dads nowadays. And there have actually been people who spoke with extraterrestrials that have come out and said this because they've been harassed and stalked by them and eventually made to disappear by them. But before they did interviews and they said they don't wear black suits anymore. They wear khaki shorts and a polo shirt. They are soccer dads, baseball dads, sports dads, call it what you want to call them, but right. They're khaki men now. There's still government men out there who will, if you have a Bigfoot sighting, an alien sighting, any experience with any kind of cryptid or anything in the paranormal realm that they can find out about, that they think may be able to expose things that they know about that they can't know what people know about. Guess what? You're going to get a visit. You're not going to get no flash like in the movies. You're going to get terrorized and tormented into staying quiet. Many people have committed suicide, have unalived themselves because of the Men in Black, because they couldn't stand it anymore. They couldn't stand being watched and listened to 24/7. So I had to put it on my list because the Men in Black just shows how dangerous our government could be when they don't want something out.
Right.
But yeah,
100% agree with that.
And who doesn't love watching Will Smith rap next to an alien in a video? Come on.
Right. Aliens are more realistic than most humans. Number 7 on mine is Paul McCartney was killed in a car accident, replaced by a lookalike.
Paul is dead if you play it backwards. Yep.
You know, like, as someone who's not really a Beatles fan, other than the occasional song here or there, I'm a huge fan of like Hey Jude and Obladi, oblada, obladi. That's about the only two, Beatles songs that I give a shit about. Oh, and Let It Be. That's three. That's my number seven. You know,
No, My Guitar Gently Weeps or Happiness is a Warm Gun. Those would be your type of songs, I would think.
Helter Skelter, but that's been played to death by other bands.
Motley Crue did better, but yeah, I
like Paul
am
McCartney more with the Wings than I did with the Beatles.
Another band on the Run's a damn good song.
No, no.
I grew up with that fucking commercial every freaking commercial break where the greatest hits of Wings, like
that silly little love song.
Yeah, so yeah, no, it's not the same song.
Okay, yeah. Anyways, my number seven is Paul McCartney.
I see. That's one of the I never even put that in my conspiracy bracket because it's just so outlandish and so.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's my urban legend bracket either. I know the Robert Johnson thing's my urban legend bracket, but I don't think Paul McCartney is. I mean, I know the whole thing. You play the record backwards that says Paul is dead, but it's I don't know. I mean, is it possible? Yes. A lot of the musicians out there nowadays that got famous could have been easily killed in accident or on purpose and replaced with government clones or government dupes to make it easier for the government to control what they do. So that, I mean, it always goes back to the government in some shape or form. It always goes back to the government trying to control everybody. And Paul being dead, I don't know. He's like him and Ringo are like the only two Beatles left, and they've been the only two left for a long time. So I don't think he's dead. I think that's just like one of those things it was a game of telephone and it got spread more and more until people started believing it. I mean, it wouldn't make sense. Why would they replace him? If he died in an accident, it'd be like all the other musicians like Kurt Cobain who died and just are basically honored and remembered forever. At least in my opinion.
Right. Number 6 for you.
I think you're going to fucking love this one if you didn't put it on your list. But I heard about this conspiracy on the Bunny Ears podcast that Macaulay Culkin did for a few years. I never heard of it till then, and I looked into it once I heard about it on his podcast, and there actually is there's some light behind this. And in recent developments in the last 5-6 years, it kind of makes more sense that it actually did happen. My number 6 is Pizzagate, which for those who don't know, Pizzagate, short and sweet, is the idea that there's a pizza place in Washington, D.C. that has a secret tunnel to the White House, its back room, its basement, whatever. And that has been used for many reasons, but Pizzagate mainly focuses around the fact that in the Jeffrey Epstein-like people world, that pizza is a nickname for child pornography. And so Pizzagate became a thing because it's believed that Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton snuck in minors through a tunnel from a pizza place. And that's where Pizzagate became a thing. One or two journalists wrote about it in the 2000s, and it became a huge thing. And then it kind of exploded again when Epstein Island burst. When Jeffrey Epstein got offed, which I almost put that on my list too, but I want to leave that alone. And it's too freaking cliche at this point. But yeah, I mean, when Jeffrey Epstein got offed, unalived himself, whatever the hell actually happened, it kind of blew up again because it just kind of gives the idea that what is going on with the government, with all these famous celebrities and politicians that fly to Epstein Island, and with all the child sex trafficking in the world, like there's something going on that we don't know about. And Pizzagate kind of lends to all that. Whether it's true or not, people try to say, oh, they would have found out if there was a tunnel. So I'm like, you know how many secret tunnels there probably are to the White House or out of the White House that no one fucking knows about? Because in case of a nuclear threat, or or during the Cold War when they need ways out in case something happened with Russia, like you don't think they had backup plans to get the president and the other higher staff out of the fucking White House immediately. Like you don't think they had plans in case there was a nuke head to the White House. Like, come on now. Like, don't be naive.
I promise you, there are tunnels under DC that are not on any map. That's almost a guarantee. For whatever reasons they are there for, as what you stated or whatever, I guarantee you there are tunnels under DC that are not on any map, nor will be. You know, one of my favorite TV shows is Blacklist. One, because he played such an amazing role as Reddington. But two, again, as far-fetched as some of the shit was, you just had to sit back and think completely within the realm of possibility, man. Like, this is not as far-fetched as, yes, it's supposed to be completely fantastical and blah, blah, blah. But, you know, you think, are there fucking people in DC that are power brokers and fixers that, you know, find motherfuckers and then change their face and put them in place of others and shit like that? It is not as far-fetched as
No. The government
beyond the
has
realm of possibility, you know?
the government has had capabilities to do shit like that since the fucking 70s, 80s, probably.
But that's
And
what I'm
when
saying.
since Face Off, I mean, Face Off was probably based on real things.
So my number 6, this is one of my favorites personally. I got it at number 6 just because, you know, whatever, but this is one of my favorites. And this is one of the ones that there's a lot of weight to this. There's a lot of shit about this one that people say, oh, it's a coincidence. But after so many coincidences, is it really a coincidence, or is it really, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, you're driving me nuts. What is it?
Number 6 is Elvis is a preacher in Benton, Arkansas.
I have not heard that one.
So Elvis, some people say that legends never truly die. They just find a new life echoing eternally in the depths of our hearts. So this legend says that in Benton, Arkansas, there is a preacher. His name is Bob Joyce, and he is a preacher of a church. Bob Joyce appeared around 2008. And before 2008, when he became the preacher of this church, there's almost no information about his life. His life is just dark. In all of the pictures, people say he's either the greatest Elvis impersonator of all time, or he's actually Elvis. He won't talk about his past life, or he won't talk about his life before 2008. He has a ring. He wears a ring that was owned by Elvis, and according to him, was gifted to him by Elvis's niece. The niece says that Bob Joyce is a longtime family friend. He has a scar above his eye in the exact same place that Elvis received a scar from a martial arts incident. He has a broken right pinky finger that's crooked in the same exact way Elvis's is. When he sings, he sounds exactly like Elvis, and his voice has been compared numerous times by voice experts who say that the recording of him singing and the recording of Elvis is exactly the same. It has the exact same voice print. Now, there is no proof that he is Elvis, but all of these coincidences, when you put them together, of the ring, the scar, the finger, the fact that there's no evidence of this thing before 2008.
But see, this is where I have a problem with it. Elvis would be how old if he was alive today? It's got to be 80s.
And this guy matches the exact age. He's 83.
I mean, yes, there have been legends of Elvis, seeing Elvis in gas stations and movie theaters and everywhere else for the last 50 years since he died, supposedly. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, is it possible? Yes, but why would he fake his own death?
So this is Elvis when he died, and this is Bob Joyce.
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. It's one of them things that it's one of them ones that, you know, it's completely far-fetched, but at the same time, is it beyond the realm of total?
I almost believe the Men in Black theory that Elvis was an extraterrestrial more than he went home, more than the fact that he's still alive as a preacher. I mean, yes, he was in love with God, but still.
Right. Like I said, it's one of them conspiracy theories. It's kind of funny and it's kind of goofy. And, you know, I'm not really a massive Elvis fanatic or fan. But again, you know, when you start stacking it's a coincidence about the ring. It's a coincidence about the finger. It's a coincidence about the scar. It's kind of like, okay, when you start stacking all of these coincidences on top of each other, man.
I feel like in this day and age, somebody would have broken that wide open by now if that was the truth.
And that's the thing, like you would think that.
Unless it's a government witness protection thing.
And that's the other thing that has been said is this guy literally didn't fucking exist before 2008. Before 2008, Bob Joyce
Which
didn't exist. So he
which
was housed before 2008.
did
You know,
which when did Elvis die? 77, 79, somewhere around there.
yeah.
So where was he from 79 2008? That's what I want to know.
That's the thing. That's the thing. If he was in witness protection and he
I mean,
was just being low key, and then in 2008 just decided, fuck it, I don't want to be low key anymore. You know, I just want to live a normal life. You know, could he have taken a final identity and just walked away from witness protection and said, hey, I'm just going to be this guy and this is it? You know, so again, it's conjecture and it's whatever, but it's one of the ones that really I find humorous and kind of amusing because unlike most conspiracy theories where there's not really, you know, a ton of physical weight behind it, this one's got a few things, man, that are kind of fucking interesting and kind of like you make you think a little bit, you know, like I don't know, man.
I mean, it's
You know, you got voice experts that are comparing shit from Elvis and
why had there been no documentaries on this? That's my other question.
oh, there's all kinds of this motherfucker has a YouTube channel and a TikTok, you know, and shit. And that's the thing. Like there's all kinds of shit out there about, but he won't say yes or no. He said, no, I'm not really Elvis. But the way he says it with this sort of wink and a nod type of thing, like
I mean, I want to see a full-fledged Netflix Hulu documentary about it where someone is actually breaking down all the facts in front of me where I could be like, all right. I mean, it probably won't happen till this guy actually dies, but I mean,
right.
Still, it's
number 5. I mean, got it number 5.
and at the age he is, wouldn't he want to like at the end of his life just come back for like 5 years and be like, I've been here the whole time. Just
hundreds of millions of dollars off it.
Oh, that's the thing. Somebody should follow the money. Where all the money from his royalties go since he died, supposedly. And
that's the thing, like
I mean, and how did he let Michael Jackson marry his daughter if he's still alive?
Again, it's one of the ones, dude, that there's so many directions you can kind of go with.
You know what's funny? My grandma on my mother's side was the biggest Elvis fan ever. The whole back room of her house, Elvis plates, Elvis everything else on the wall. And I said something when I found out that Michael Jackson's daughter, I got old enough, I figured out that Michael Jackson's daughter married Elvis for a second. Or Elvis's daughter married Michael Jackson for a minute. I asked my grandma about it, and she was like, "Oh, that was short lived." Like she was just so pissed off about it. But well, my number five.
You get it, number 5.
My number 5 we already kind of touched on, but I'll get more into it now. And that is Matrix / the simulation theory. And that is the idea that the famous Matrix movies basically brought to real life. And it's funny that in the newest Matrix movie, which was but it's funny that in that one that they even point at the fact that it's they almost say like, yeah, we base this on a real conspiracy because Keanu Reeves is once again stuck in the Matrix. And I mean, I don't like to say I give that much weight to the Matrix idea. I mean, if we are living in a Matrix, it's run by extraterrestrials. That I will say.
Right.
That's right. It has to be. But there's no old man in a room watching videos. That's all. That'd be creepy, and that's not true. But there's extraterrestrials, I'm sure. And if we're in a Matrix, it's them running it. I mean, South Park said it. Earth is the biggest reality show of all time. But
right.
But I mean, and yes, if you listen to Monsters Among Us podcasts and other podcasts that have people's actual supernatural paranormal stories on, there are a lot of stories out there about glitches in the Matrix, as they're called. The ones that stick on my head. An older couple taking a walk around their neighborhood that they walked around for the last 30 years. And they turn a corner, and all of a sudden they're in a place they've never seen before. They're in a city they don't even know where it is. They walk a couple blocks and decide to turn around and walk back because they're getting scared and they're getting confused. And as soon as they walk back past a certain point, oh look, they're in their neighborhood again. And then it never happened again. That's a glitch in the Matrix. Right. Another glitch in the Matrix. A man was walking down the street in a major city. I forget exactly what time frame this was, but as he's walking down the street in this major city, he sees a car go by with wheels that are squares, which he looked into it. No such car ever existed in our world. So he either jumped to an alternate dimension and jumped back involuntarily real fast, or it was a glitch in the Matrix. There's plenty of more examples about glitches in the Matrix. I mean, I don't like to give too much weight to it because I have no real physical proof that we are living in a Matrix. But yeah, I mean, to me, that's just, that's basically all I can go on is because it's too strange that there's some weight in truth. And supposedly there's a small island somewhere off of Japan, I want to say, or there's an island somewhere that I just saw something on the other day that supposedly people have been living there since the 50s or 60s in a complete Matrix type. The whole island, they don't know anything else that happens in the outside world. They are force-fed false history by the government because this is like a government test this island. And they have raised generations of these people in this island without them ever knowing what goes on in the real world. And with all the islands that are out there in the oceans that we never go to, that no one vacations at, because there's no point of it, I can 100% see that happening. I can 100% see the government running simulations with fake societies somewhere in the world.
The Truman Show.
basically, it is the Truman Show, but except no one's watching it. It's just the government watching.
All right, number 5 for me. This is where the next 4 are kind of just not really anything amazing. Number 5, I have FEMA camps. I see it all the time. I read so much about it. You know, every time a Walmart closes, every time a Kmart closes, every time a Toys R Us closes, you always get some fucking idiot like, oh, there's doctors and Nissan trucks and they're turning it into a FEMA camp. And it's just like, dude, get the fuck out of here. Like, if the government, with all its complexities, if the government is going to build a fucking FEMA camp to imprison people, they're not going to use a fucking Walmart building.
Nope, it's going to be a black site that you don't know exists.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we literally have fucking mountain ranges that are beyond the ability to even see in them. You know, Snake River Canyon, the Rocky Mountains, the Appalachians. If they're going to imprison motherfuckers, it is going to be a dark site somewhere in West Virginia, somewhere in fucking Virginia, somewhere in fucking Colorado, where satellites can't even fucking see in the fucking tree canopy, you know, and it's going to be like some fucking underground cave that we don't know about, you know, like some fucking cave tunnel system under the Rocky Mountains or some shit. Like it, you know, like it is not going to be fucking a Walmart building in the middle of fucking Baltimore, you know. Like,
it's not going to be somewhere people can easily walk up to and see what's going on.
That's what I'm saying. Like, do you realize what would happen if you tried to put like 500 or 600 people in a fucking Walmart and tell them you can't leave this building? Like,
have you not seen horror movies? Because that's what would happen.
But that's what I'm saying. And beyond that, like, when you trap people in a building with nothing but time on their hands, you can't just use a Walmart building, dude. I mean, there's a reason prisons have surveillance towers, multiple fences. They have fucking open fields and for miles in every direction. Because when motherfuckers sit and have nothing but time, you start coming up with really fucking crazy ideas. And you learn how to make shit out of nothing. You learn how to fucking move bricks. You learn how to, believe me, a Walmart building is not holding a large group of motherfuckers without
a Walmart building can hold like 3 people. Like if they want to get out, like they couldn't.
Yeah, like you'd have to have a massive fucking army surrounding that place at all hours of the day and night, or they're just gonna overrun the fucking guards and just walk the fuck away. This isn't Hollywood, dude. Like, you know, I mean, Hollywood can make it look cute. Like, oh yeah, sure, you know, 5 or 6 guys can guard, you know, a large group of people. But in the reality is, you know, you start fucking with people's reality, man, and you can get real mean and ugly, real fucking quick.
I mean, the only thing that might be hiding in a Walmart is Chuck Mangione because he doesn't want to be a spokesperson anymore. Shout out to King.
Right. Number 4. What do you got at number 4?
All right, and this is actually so far this is the last one where I'm touching something you already touched on, but my number 4 is the Denver airport because yes, the whole idea of it being an Illuminati headquarters, I know that theory possible, very possible. I mean, I don't think they have a specific headquarters. I think they meet in a lot of locations all over the world, but the Denver airport, for those who don't know, was built and cost substantially more than any airport in the history of the United States to be built. So, and there was all these weird construction things that nobody can explain. There's a statue in the front that looks slightly reptilian, and that's the other theory is that it's not Illuminati headquarters. It might be, but it also might be a reptilian headquarters because there are doors there that you can't get in, and they have weird symbols on the doors. And the thing that about Denver Airport that really is the creepiest is it was built on Native American burial grounds. So it was highly haunted when they first built it, and regular consumers were complaining about it, about seeing things, about their luggage being thrown across the airport, and no explanation why. So even though you can't hear it over the hustle bustle, there is always on speakers on very low volume Native American music being played to soothe the spirits. I don't know if you know. I don't know if you knew that, but that's a fact. They admit to that.
I didn't know that, but like I said, as someone who has been in that airport and has been in all the other major ones as well, there is something about that airport that is.
I mean,
there's just your skin kind of. I don't want to say your skin crawls, but there's like your body just has this. At least my body, when the 2 times I've been there, it just kind of has this uneasiness. Like there's just something weird.
And there's also the theory that it's been used as a landing ground for extraterrestrials multiple times, and that the president has secret rooms there where he can meet extraterrestrials and other people he needs to meet without people knowing. There's one other thing. I mean, it's just the construction is the weirdest thing. If you look into the construction, there's a lot of things that can't be explained that they built. And I believe also it's somewhat the shape of a pentagram if you look at it from the construction plans. So it's also believed to be possibly like a Satanist headquarters as well. I've heard that theory. I've heard a lot of theories about the Denver airport. A lot of them are just ridiculous. But I mean, the reptilian one is the one I've heard the most. It's a reptilian headquarters. It's a connection to their underground society, which I'll get to that in a little bit. But
getting into that,
segues.
Since you mentioned it, number 4 for me, Zuckerberg is a reptilian.
Oh, Hillary Clinton is too. But yes,
yeah, I've read Zuckerberg, Beyonce, Hillary Clinton, Rihanna were some of the names that I read on the list of quote unquote purported lizard people.
I mean, there's the famous example of the newscaster whose eyes shut horizontally rather than vertically. So,
as someone who was a massive fan of the TV show V in the 80s, again, I pretty much anything is within the realm of, I don't know. But I thought it was just amusing because the majority of the people on the list, but Zuckerberg is the one. Like, the dude just doesn't look real. Like, he looks like a fucking android. Like weird.
And think about what he did. He gave a way for the government to watch people post what they're thinking every minute of every day. That's what he did. He gave the government a way into people's minds and a way to influence people with targeted ads and all this other stuff. So yeah, I mean, it's a very good theory that he might be one because it would tie into government corruption, and reptilians have long been known to be government allies to corrupt humans because they hate humans. They are one of the ancient races that supposedly tried to destroy humans, which led to the Palladian, Arcturian, and Norse war against reptilians in ancient times.
Okay.
I didn't put the whole aliens create humans on my list because that would take me hours to go through. That would take me hours to go through.
I mean, you kind of mentioned it with the cryptids and whatnot. So I get it. Number 3 for you.
My number 3 is a 2-part / a slash because I think they're kind of like two in the same theory, and that's the idea of hollow moon / fake moon landing. Because there's an infamous story where they shot a missile at the moon and it rang like a bell for 11 minutes, I believe it was. And the people some of the people who landed on it back in the 60s, 70s said that it was hollow. And it ties in to the fake moon landing because the first moon landing was 100% faked. Or, oh, it was either, this is where I'm always debating. It was either completely fake or it was real, but there's a reason we haven't been back because of that. Because it was real and we saw something or were told something. I think we were told, you don't come back here. Like, just tell your government not to come back here ever again. And because if you look at, what was that, Apollo 11 or Apollo 13? The one with the, yeah. If you look at their faces when they're getting interviewed when they get back, supposedly, they're all terrified. They all have these look in their faces that they can't say something. They all just look at like they're scared of what they'll say. They're like watching what they'll say with every word. And Buzz Aldrin actually came out and admitted a lot. I think he's still alive. I could be wrong, but he admitted.
No, I think he died a couple years ago.
Yeah, before he died, he admitted a lot about it, and a lot of it got hushed and shut down, and you can't find it anywhere. But I've heard stories about it, and I remember when he came out, and like it was in all the conspiracy rags that you find, like what the hell's the one I used to read all the time, like National Enquirer, shit like that. Like it was in all these conspiracy rags that, I mean, because it's a theory that the moon is basically like a Death Star type thing because it's controlled by extraterrestrials. Because if you look in ancient cultures, there are stories of the moon being put there. It wasn't always there. And supposedly, it didn't break off from the Earth that close to our history. It broke off before any recorded history, supposedly. So, yeah, doesn't exactly line up with everything that ancient cultures have in their legends. So, I mean, I don't know. The ancient cultures had, like, explanations for everything, but I feel like they wouldn't just make that up as an explanation for the moon. When it was already there, it would have always been there in the stories. There wouldn't be images of chariots pulling into place and whatnot. I mean, that's just, I truly think the moon is hollow, that it's a space station of some kind for some kind of extraterrestrial race that watches us. And the moon landing was 100% either faked or we were just told never to go back there because we saw something. And if you watch the footage, I haven't really actually dug into this too much because I just don't have the time, but if you watch the footage of the original moon landing, there are shadows of things that you can't quite explain what they are, and there are footprints all over the moon that are not human.
So that plays into my number 3, but mine is kind of the opposite. Not that the Earth or the moon is hollow, but that the Earth is flat. We are living on a tabletop. And this is one of the ones I find the most ridiculous, just simply because.
All right. Thank you, God. I was gonna say if you said for a second you believe it's fucking true, I would have been like, I need a new co-host. I need a new co-host.
No, this is the one that I find the most humorous, the most ridiculous, because obviously it's been proven time and time again by not just pictures, but experiment after experiment of flat earthers who go out to prove the Earth is flat, only to find out that Earth is, not flat at all, that their laser experiments do everything, they're supposed to do on a moving sphere. So every time I run into a flat earther, I just kind of point and go at them.
It's funny. My co-host Scott went on a flat Earth podcast to debate the guy, and the guy got so pissed he told me he's never welcome back.
Yeah, flat earthers get really pissed when you start pointing out that
I don't see how it's believable.
Yeah,
I've heard it explained by experts. I've seen documentaries where it's explained, like in their theories, and I was like, it's not possible. We fucking have seen it from space multiple times.
Yeah.
And if you fly in a plane, the Earth's not flat.
I mean, just you don't even got to go to space to understand. There's literal experiments that you can do with lasers.
And it's actually funny because my number 2 and 1 are going to play into that a little bit too. But
so yeah, number 3 is the flat Earth. Number 2, what do you got? Number 2.
My number 2, and this is a big one I've been hearing a lot about lately. So I definitely It's always been one of my favorites, so I had to put it towards the top. But my number two is, well, it's Antarctica's secret base, but it's mainly Antarctica in general. For those who don't know, regular human civilians are not allowed in Antarctica. There are multiple research stations from every country in the world that's civilized, and they are all on the coast. You are not allowed to go inland unless you're part of a government research team. You're not allowed to land in our Antarctica or you will be shot. Why all the secrecy around Antarctica is the question people have been asking for the last 30, 40 years. There's a lot of theories, and I've seen a lot of reels on lately that they have found pyramids in Antarctica that you can see them on satellite images. You can see them on Google Maps. There's pyramids in Antarctica, which, gee, and I mean, obviously Antarctica wasn't always a frozen wasteland. At one point in Earth's history, it was connected to Pangea, and it was a jungle, basically. So there are creatures there we may not know exist yet. They supposedly have found some, but they don't reveal too much about that. They dig holes in Antarctica, and they find supposedly alien craft and alien creatures that are frozen. Hopefully they find Gwar, or the aliens Gwar is meant to represent. And I also like the idea that Antarctica, and this ties into my number one as well, but the idea that Antarctica is a savage land, like Marvel Comics depicts it as, where there are living dinosaurs and everything else in Antarctica because it's actually a jungle once you get past the frozen outskirts. How's there a jungle in this frozen outskirt, you ask? Well, Earth's magnetic cores and other features of Earth make it possible. We'll get into that with number one.
Antarctica. And
I don't know. Have you ever looked into Antarctica at all or no?
I've heard, this, that, and the other thing about Antarctica and about people disappearing and about it, this and that, and
there's also
so much.
There's also the theory that Antarctica has a whole race of humans that have never seen society outside of Antarctica.
Yes, there's so many different things about Antarctica that you really could spend the rest of your life going down rabbit holes.
I mean, I will say this. Me and Scott always said, when the apocalypse happens and the days is here, we're going to the Vatican. Well, after we go to the Vatican and learn how to conjure everything in the world and learn all the secrets of the Vatican, we're going to Antarctica next. And we're taking every weapon we found in the Vatican and we're getting into Antarctica and into the middle of it to see what's there.
Yeah. My number two, and this one ain't really a conspiracy theory so much as it's just, I think it started as an internet meme and took on a life of its own and sort of became a conspiracy theory. It's The Simpsons predicts the future.
It's not a conspiracy theory as much as it's just pure dumb fucking luck.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I don't believe 1 second that, anyone on the Simpsons writing team is a person from the future or from the past or any other bullshit. It's just,
Yeah.
I've seen, as I pointed out on the one show, I've seen at least 4 instances on Married with Children where they made jokes that predated something happening. So it's not just The Simpsons. Married with Children made the Bruce Jenner joke about Marcy, 8 years before Bruce became Caitlyn. So, it's just like you said, dumb luck or whatever you want to call it. But
it's it's interesting the amount of stuff they have predicted, but then again, it's kind of like the Nostradamus thing where it's a lot of the ones they take are so vague they can mean a lot of things, not just exactly what happened.
Right.
So yeah, I don't consider that conspiracy theory really. I just consider that kind of a cool fact of Simpsons.
Yeah, it's just what's one of the ones that whatever. So number one, what is your big boy, like the white whale, so to speak? Yeah, so to speak, the Moby Dick of conspiracy theories.
See, all right, I need to light a cigarette for this one because this one's going to be a minute. Well, this conspiracy theory has been my favorite since I started looking into it. Actually, when I made my conspiracy theory bracket, this was on the list I found. And I looked into it more and more and more, and I was like, oh my God, it ties every fucking thing together in the paranormal world. So my number one conspiracy is and always will be Hollow Earth. And no, I'm not saying the Earth It's 100% hollow, like one of those fucking chocolate balls you buy at the candy store. No, there is a magma core, blah blah blah, but there is a lot of distance between the magma core and the surface of the Earth. So
Mhm.
in that distance, the Earth is fucking majorly hollow, not completely, but majorly hollow. You can look at the missing 411 and the cave systems in America as proof of it, and you can. I mean, the cave systems in America are mainly the best proof of it, and all over the world, really. But the Earth, it has to be hollow. The Native Americans wrote legends of walking through caves for thousands of miles as part of a spiritual quest. How could they do that unless the Earth is hollow and all the caves and a lot, well, not all, but a lot of the cave systems are connected? This would also explain a lot of things. A lot of cryptids could be explained because this is where they live. Pale crawlers, a fairly new cryptid in the world, basically act like zombies, kind of, but they're just pale humanoids. They live in the hollow earth caves. That would make sense because they'd be pale because of lack of sunlight. And they would not know humans, so they would act weird around humans. My wife recorded one in her backyard when we were dating because she lived near the Bridgewater Triangle. So yeah, I mean it explains a lot. I mean, if it'd be a way for Bigfoot and dogmen and all these other cryptids to traverse across the country without people knowing, to have places for to live. I'm sure there's animal species down there they could eat too, and plants they could eat. I'm sure there's water sources down there as well, because a lot of cave systems have water in them, lakes and just streams and whatnot. It would explain a lot about the world. And living dinosaurs ties into it too, because, gee, where could these massive creatures go to hide? Oh, in the Earth. Have they survived the apocalypse or dinosaurs? In the Earth. There's a whole theory about when the Great Flood happened, which is in every mythology in the world
Right.
for the most part, that extraterrestrials that were already controlling humans at that point, we were their slaves basically. One group of humans chose to stay on land, and they are the dumbasses we are today. The other group of humans, the smarter ones, went underground with extraterrestrials into a hollow Earth, and they now possibly reside there full time, or they are hiding in our society, or they're back in the extraterrestrials' home planets, whatever you want to believe about that. But there's a lot of proof of this actually, and it just proves it goes to show like there's so much we can't explain, and the Hollow Earth ties into all of it. I mean, the Denver airport is built on the Hollow Earth entrance point, and that's why it's supposed to be reptilian headquarters. It ties into a lot of other things too. I mean, it ties into everything. I mean, extraterrestrials. Gee, how many times have we seen UFOs coming out of the water going into the water? Why would they go doing that? Do they have an underwater bases like some Legion of Doom? No, there are caves under the water that their ships go in the water. They navigate to these caves. Is the best word,
Right.
and they go into them and park their ships. And guess what? They have bases in there. Like the Hollow Earth is, in my mind, 100% real. It would explain everything. It would explain so freaking much about this world and about the things that we can't explain. So, but yeah, the missing 411 and all the lining up with all the cases in America is the biggest proof of it. Because all these missing people happen to go missing. All these hunters and outdoorsmen and people that are naturals at being outside and surviving go missing in the nature. What now? You want to explain that to me? So
Hmm.
unless there's multiple serial killers out there killing these people, they got taken into Hollow Earth by something. Whether dogmen, probably the most likely suspect because they are a little more vicious than Bigfoot and other cryptids. But Bigfoot, yeah, maybe. I mean, Bigfoot needs brides. So everybody's heard of the Bride of the Woods theory. So, I mean, there's so many different things that the Hollow Earth can explain, including the Antarctica Savage Land idea. Because guess what? What if that's how things in Antarctica get in and out of Antarctica?
Yeah. I'm just listening, dude, because it's again totally within the realm. Edgar Burrow Rice wrote the John Carter series in the 1880s, and
You want to bring up Burroughs? Yep, 100%.
but
John
I'm
Carter,
saying John
yeah.
Carter, like where does John Carter went to Mars in a fucking cave?
Well, not even that. there's multiple. I've read all the John Carter series and every book in the Tarzan series written by Burroughs,
Okay.
and there's a lot of stuff in the Tarzan series about living dinosaurs in secret lands underground.
So
He John Edward Burroughs was 100% he was onto something. You can call him a conspiracy theorist, you can call him a nut, you can call him whatever you want to call him, but
right.
he was onto things in those books. I freaking love the John Carter series and the Tarzan series, but he was on something in the Tarzan series because there's a whole book where Tarzan somehow he falls into a hole in the ground, wakes up in a land when first thing he sees is a triceratops, and he learns how to talk to them and ride them. But that's the most awesome part. But yeah, for those who don't know, the Tarzan book series is like 20 to 30 books long, and it's fucking incredible.
Yeah, I've never read the John Carter books, but when the John Carter movie come out, I watched it, and everybody
the main movie or the other ones they did.
The main one, the one with Taylor Kitsch.
Oh, yeah,
the Disney one.
No, I've seen all the movies. None of them are good, but yeah.
So, as someone who hasn't read the books and doesn't really know the blah blah blah, I thought it was an interesting movie. I thought it was, as far as effects and storytelling, and
they did a decent job. The main Disney one did a decent job.
Yeah, like I find it far more interesting than, say, Avatar or some of the other in the thing. And it's one of the few sci-fi alien type movies that I actually enjoy as far as like rewatch value.
If they ever do those movies or Tarzan movies correctly, they'd be a lot better. But the last book in that series, they go to Venus, and the aliens that are on Venus basically look like ghost riders by the way he described them.
Nice.
And and folks, he wrote these books in the late 1800s, so this is way before. This is way before he could have copied anything. He couldn't have copied shit. This was all original thinking. So, I mean, John Carter.
But that's what makes it interesting. Is you think, okay, he had these ideas during a time when space hadn't even been explored in that realm or sense. So
I mean, it's only a couple hundred years after we thought the fucking Earth was the center of the universe, for God's sakes.
And Burroughs wasn't the thing that's interesting about it is he wasn't a scientist. He wasn't a astronomer or anything of that type where he would have that knowledge of, it'd be one thing if like he was part of National Geographic or he was an explorer or he was an astronomer, he was a scientist of some kind, but he wasn't. He was a writer. So he came up with this shit some kind of way outside of it being in a laboratory or.
I have two theories. Either the government was feeding him ideas,
right?
Or my second theory is, and there's a book series I read as a kid that kind of leans into this a little bit, but the first book in the series is called My Teacher's an Alien, and it's the theory in that series is that all the major scientists that did major discoveries throughout Earth's history were either extraterrestrials in disguise or were assisted by extraterrestrials. So that could have been extraterrestrials too that were giving Burroughs all his ideas for those books.
Again, not outside of the realm of.
And he obviously believed in aliens because he wrote John Carter. So
yeah, he wrote not just John Carter, but there was
he wrote 7 books.
Seven books in that series.
7 books in the series, and there are multiple different colored Martians according to that book. But yes,
and they're big books. They're not.
Oh,
they're not 200-page books. They're long.
Trust me, I still have it. It's a giant textbook that I got at Barnes & Noble of all the books put together, except the last one where they go to Venus for some reason.
Oh, nice. So my number one, goofy, silly, but I found it amusing. Just the type of theory that is completely believable, is completely within the realm of possibility, and completely something that seems like the government would do. My number one is Bob Marley was killed by the CIA by a cancerous needle in his boot.
Oh my God.
I'm a Bob Marley fan, obviously. I had heard of the Iron Fist theory. I have heard of the mafia theories. I've heard of all of these different theories, but this was a first to me. I had never heard the theory of, sort of the ice bullet type of thing of Bob Marley dying of cancer that was caused by, a government assassin who placed a, cancer filled needle in his boot. So that was my number one, just because it is.
You went all out. You went all out.
I mean, the sounds, it just seems like something the government would fucking do.
So, I mean, I wouldn't say it's beyond the scope of the government to do shit like that at all. I really wouldn't say that ever. But I mean, Bob Marley could still be singing in Jamaica with Tupac smoking blunts. I mean, we don't know. But I mean,
I wholeheartedly believe the government was responsible for the death of Malcolm X. You can't convince me otherwise.
And MLK Jr. Yeah.
Yeah. Malcolm more than Martin Luther King.
Well, yeah, because Malcolm was down to do anything and get what he wanted. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, Malcolm was powerful. Malcolm was at a point where he could control.
He was dangerous. To the government, he was dangerous, and that's why and MLK was the same thing though. MLK to them was dangerous because he was putting forth an idea they didn't want to get motion.
The breaking point for me, and I believe this wholeheartedly, the breaking point for me with Malcolm was when the crowd was going to march to the police station and burn the police station down for them attacking the black students. As they marched past Malcolm's apartment, Malcolm came outside and he motioned the leader over and he spoke to him in his ear, and the crowd simply dissipated and went back home. And I think that was the point when the government realized, okay, this man could start a riot or stop a riot with his words. And the black man at that time was just, and I've said this and I stand by it. If Malcolm X lives, he is our first black president. Long before,
for anybody. Yeah, he would have been president in the late 70s or 80s, probably.
Yes, I have long said that if Malcolm lives, he is probably the president during the time of either Carter or Reagan.
Yeah.
One of the two. I don't think it would have been immediately because you would have probably had to push Malcolm towards that. But eventually it would have reached a point with Malcolm where Malcolm would have said the easiest way to, change the bull is to grab it by his horns.
Well, but that comes back to your Paul McCartney conspiracy.
Yes.
Why wouldn't the government have just offed him and then made a duplicate and then used them to control the African American population?
And that's a good thing. I think Malcolm might have been a little harder to imitate, duplicate. Like he had mannerisms and ways about him that were uniquely.
I mean, he died in what, the 70s, I believe.
70. I know I'm going to get this wrong. 75. I want to say no. I'm going to get this wrong. Why don't I know this? One September of 75. February of 1965.
Oh, damn. I mean, the government could have something if they wanted to, but I think just taking them out was easier. I think just taking them out was the easier method.
I think wholeheartedly the government just hit a point where they were kind of like, this motherfucker's dangerous, and Malcolm had mannerisms that were uniquely his.
And imagine if we got to the Summer of Love, and he was still around, and he would have been at Woodstock, and he would have started influencing a lot of white people as well.
That's what, and that was the thing. Like, so Malcolm had gone from being the puppet, quote unquote, of
the Panthers,
of not the Panthers, of Muhammad, of Elijah Muhammad, and had switched to being a Sunni Muslim, to where he was more open to the idea, and he was vehemently against liberalism. His famous quote is, "Nothing is more dangerous than a white liberal trying to help." While he still believed wholeheartedly that African Americans were better off by themselves, he was also open to the idea of more open to the idea of like, look, we can achieve this by coexisting. He was, a very, very powerful man, a very powerful speaker. Somebody that I didn't know about until a guy my mom dated in California. He was a history teacher and he lived next door. And he pulled me aside one day and he said, "Hey, read this book." And it was the autobiography of Malcolm X. And I read that book and it was a page turner, bro. I mean, it was just like, holy shit, this dude was like kind of unhinged in the shit that he said.
Oh, yeah.
Spoken in a way that was like, holy shit. Even if you didn't agree with him, you kind of got what he was getting at. Like,
he was a brilliant man,
yeah.
and that nothing's more dangerous to the government than that. So
yes, and that's exactly it. Like he hit a point, man, where he wasn't going to be contained. He wasn't going to be led by anybody. He wasn't going to be told what to do or when to do it.
And
dozens of people told him, "Don't give that speech." Dozens of people warned him, "They're going to try to kill you. Do not go there." And Malcolm said, "Let them do as thy will." He didn't. He wasn't scared. I mean,
And you got to remember, this is a time in America when a lot of government workers were technically members of the KKK, because it was still a respectable thing at that point to be a member of that. So I mean, it's the world was a different place, and yeah, he was too dangerous for his time. So the government did what they did best. Same as Martin Luther, same as Kennedy, and same as a lot of other people.
Yeah, which is what gives credence to me the Bob Marley thing, because Marley was, with his music, was drawing massive crowds in England, massive crowds in America, massive crowds in places that he was bringing white people together and a new way of a message of solidarity and unity.
Yeah. I mean,
so
I mean, he said, "No woman, no cry," and I felt that.
To me, the coolest thing about Bob Marley is they took Bob Marley. Disney made a scene with a crab singing his song. That to me was one of the coolest Disney moments of seeing Sebastian, singing, "Don't worry about the thing, every little thing," and it was just like, all right, that's cool. Like you just threw a fucking Marley tribute in there with a little crab. And it's one of the reasons my son is named Sebastian. It's kind of the reference to that cool little thing. With that said, these are your top 10 conspiracy theories. I know this one's a little long. I kind of figured it would be because I knew we were going to have fun with it. But with all that said, please remember that while there is a grain of truth in everything, and everything starts with something, whether it's a stereotype or a conspiracy theory, whatever, everything is based in something. Also remember that, a lot of this was just kind of tongue in cheek and just having fun with it to invoke conversation or not invoke, but provoke conversation and, the exchange of ideas. So please don't do something stupid like trying to, race past the gates of Area 51. You will get shot. Please don't try to invade any military bases. You will get shot. Don't try to assassinate any government people. You will get shot.
I mean, I mean, if you're ex-military or something, you're good enough at it, then take a shot. But
And lastly, all of this is done facetiously. So if there's any government agencies listening, please don't raid my house. Please don't take my computers. And please don't take anything I said as a threat or anything else. It is absolutely not meant as a threat to any living person, animal, being, or
extraterrestrials,
possible alien cryptid person who may be under the earth. No harm is intended to any living being. So with that said, be well, treat each other with kindness, and remember that music heals.